Hey, what's going on, traders? Going 5 for 5 today. What you see on the P&L is actually close to half of that because what we traded today was mostly penny stocks, and they actually ended up being quite pricey as far as the commissions go. Box was our first trade. This was not uh, one of the penny stocks. I think the rest of them were. This one was a little bit frustrating. We were having some issues with our hot buttons not working today, and it ended up costing us a pretty good ad up here at 3040. We actually hit it up there, and unfortunately, we didn't get filled up there. And we actually had to hit it on the way down at 3027, which brought our average down a little bit further. Well, it brought it up, but it wasn't as high as it could have been. And so it kind of spooked us a little, and we ended up taking shares off a little bit earlier than we probably would have. But it ended up being an okay trade anyway. Never really took too much risk on it. And, we didn't end up making too much off of it either. So not that big of a deal, but at the same time, it was a little bit frustrating. FFIE. This one was a little bit frustrating as well because I was still dealing with that issue, but it ended up working out. We started this thing with 500 shares, added, or actually, I believe, did we start with 1,000 shares? Yeah, we started this with 1,000 shares, took 500 off, added those 500, took 500 off, added those 500, and then just took the whole thing off. Actually, we only got to add a 401 up here. We actually hit a market order for 500, but it only filled us 401 shares. And so when it came down, I was just kind of tired of dealing with this one because, as you can see, it started turning into a bit of a grinder, and we ran out of shares, I believe. I'm not sure if it was this one or HCTI. One of these we ran out of shares, or we were about to run out of shares. So I just decided, no, this was actually the one we had plenty of shares on. I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. I didn't like the way that it was acting, and I was still having those issues with my orders. Talked to Das for a little bit, figured out what could be the issue. And then we went ahead and ended up getting into EDBL. Found out that the issue was still there. Thought we had solved it. But for some reason, it has something to do with the routing. I'm not exactly sure, but they were saying that everything was fine on their end. So I'm assuming it was on Interactive Broker's end. So we'll have to see if it continues tomorrow. If it does, then we'll have to figure something out. But we'll get to that anyway. Anyways, this was a penny stock. It went up into around the halt area. We ended up starting this with 200 shares, added 200 into the halt. So we have 400 shares going into the halt. And this one was actually really odd. If you go back and watch the live stream, you will see that out of the halt, it was really weird that it would go up, there'd be a bid, and the ask was basically the exact same price, but there was like a million shares going through on the bid. So what I'm assuming happened is this started to go up, and there was some really big orders that were looking to cover their short, but they didn't want to just mark it out and hit the ask. So what they were doing is they were just putting their order on the bid, looking to get filled on the bid as it was going up, looking for those people that are looking to sell as it's going up as well. And it just kept doing that. And it would run into that wall, and it would then go up like 2 cents, and it would do it again, and up another 2 cents, and it would do it again. And it was just really odd. I've never seen something like that before. Just the amount of shares where it just sat there and it was happening. So I'm assuming again that someone was trying to cover a short, but instead of just marketing out, driving the price higher, they just kept putting their big order on the bid, assuming that since this spiked up the way that it did, that they would get filled on people trying to sell back down into the bid. And they did. And it did end up going a little bit higher. I kind of waited until I knew, or at least what I thought was going to be the top. And this was SSR as well. So it was a little tricky, but I did end up adding 400 shares. So we had a total of 800 shares. And as it was coming down, I realized that those big bids were gone. And I tried to pull my order down because I had an order out sitting here at 58. I tried to pull it down as it was happening. And as I was pulling it down, I got filled. It happened so fast. I was a little frustrated because I was going to go down to like 54 or something around there, just looking for this exact flush. And it ended up going to 51 before trying to move back up. So missed out a little bit. Figure 7 cents or like 4 cents on 800 shares. It's A6 for $32. So would have been pretty nice, considering we only made $9. That's kind of what I'm getting. It's nothing huge, but could have been much better, which could have put us right around $100 on the day overall. But is what it is. HCTI was our last trade on the day. It was actually 2 separate trades. This is where it was 5 for 5 instead of 4 for 4. Another penny stock, decent little move up towards the halt price. Got short, took it off once I realized it didn't want to go lower. Then it made the actual nice move. Waited for it. We were actually looking for it to get up closer to the halt price. I don't think it did. I think the halt price was closer to like 450 something. But realized it was struggling, went ahead and started it. And as you can see now, this thing's hard to borrow. This is one of the ones we ran out of shares on, and ended up getting a decent little pullback before it tried higher, and then ultimately ended up dying. I'm not sure what it's doing here. Yeah, it's kind of went sideways and trying to go back higher again. So got two little decent trades on that one. And again, 5 base hits added up to a decent day. Not going to complain. And that's all I got. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Always appreciate the support. If you do have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those down below. If you want to join us in the Discord or find me over on Twitter, those links are in the description. See you tomorrow. Peace.